Well, hello everyone, and welcome to part 100 of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. That is a monumental feat. This marks the second time ever I've recorded a part 100 for a Let's Play series on my channel, and both were an Ace Attorney collection. Now, I do love this franchise with all my heart. I have fallen in love with it very hard, but I don't want to do this a third time. Spending the majority of one whole year on one video game, even if it is a collection, it's a lot. It's a lot, and needless to say, although I am just enthralled by this experience, I am also looking forward to doing some shorter experiences. That said, if you've been with me for even a portion of this journey, thank you. You're the best. And if you're just clicking this video out of curiosity, you're the best as well. But slightly less so? Anyway, previously, the court took a recess after the prosecutor, Kazuma Asogi, revealed that he accompanied Tobias Gregson on this trip, on this SS Grouse ship, with the mission of killing Judge Jigoku from Japan. However, Kazuma says that he did not do any such thing and just disembarked, leaving Tobias to fail the mission and presumably get killed by the Reaper as punishment. But I think that's a whole load of bullshit, so we've actually taken control of Yujin Mikotoba, Susato's father, while he's accompanying Herlock Sholmes, and they're looking for some last-minute evidence and tracking down Judge Jigoku at that, so let's have a look-see around. So we need to cause a distraction to get rid of Chicken Stroganoff right here. Yes, that is his name. I want to say triggering this alarm would do it, so let's save that for last. That's a speaking tube for members of the crew to communicate with one another around the ship. If I could just persuade our stocky sailor friend that he needed to use it, Sholmes could unlock the door whilst he was distracted. The question is, how? Yeah, trigger the alarm. Make him have to tell the crew that there's no problem. That's the way back to the deck. But we certainly can't give up on this now. Ah, the switch for the electrical lights. Perhaps if I were to turn off the lights, the crewman wouldn't be able to see what we were doing. Leave it alone. No, I think not. That would never work, surely. I need to concoct another distraction. That's another first-class cabin, and yet its door is completely unguarded. Empty as well. I had a quick look inside earlier. Though I confess I didn't investigate the wardrobe. There may very well be a young Japanese fellow inside, perspiring merrily. If you're referring to Naruhodo, you know very well that he's currently perspiring merrily in court. Does it not strike you, though, Mikotoba? Why the man stands guard only in front of this cabin, when both are apparently vacant? Yeah, that is interesting. This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. Nah. No, I think not. That would never work, surely. I need to concoct another distraction. Alright. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Set it off. I am an agent of chaos. Here goes, then. Pardon me in advance. You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganoff, report at once. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It was just stupid trick. No, not by me. By world-famous... No, as I told you. Now, Sholmes, now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikotoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Whoosh. Okay, that is quite a lot of clothes in disarray. And it looks like the warning message was moved, but why? Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those clothes on the floor there, they're Sieshiro's, without question. Well, it seems we're just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours' worth of clues to find in here. But that burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may, which makes this all the more thrilling. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Literally and figuratively. There's ice, yet unmelted in this glass. The sound tube is clogged and stuffed with a rag. Right, left to right, I say. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Sholmes, surely you can just tell me what you said. Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it... Is something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikotoba, ice! What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy! Chilled drinks! Pardon? Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Oh, Sholmes, you genius! You actually said something smart for once! Well, it is a luxury liner, after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice, as well as human corpses. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Huh. Suddenly, Mikotoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. Okay, damn it, I'll say it. Oh man. There's a speaking tube here, look, though it's been stoppered with some cloth. So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed, so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. And you know what I always say, Mikotoba. There is nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. This is the waste paper basket, look. And there's still rubbish inside. Indeed. Then let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope only for your work. Ah! Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London, then. When I was still aboard myself. Evacuation drill notice. Following departure from the port of Oh. Ah, yes, there was an evacuation drill. I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Aha! I can't actually look at the court record. Okay, I'll look at that alongside Karma then. That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. An overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown. Momohiki work trousers, a Tanzan robe, a haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. And clearly, Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of the wardrobe. It looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in something of a hurry. Indeed. You could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps? I'm sure you made mention of packing too few. I'd very likely drown in one of Seishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. Yes, Seishiro is a very large individual. Plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied on the long sea voyages. I found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. Whoever stocked this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, my dear fellows. I'm afraid it's just me. But no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible. The Bible. I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me. You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? The wall is a slightly different color just here, do you see? Indeed. What you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well be the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late. I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? Was that a reference to Arsène Lupin, maybe? That's French, right? And yeah. Okay, I've never even read any Sherlock Holmes or Lupin, but I remember there was some crossover at one point, like way back a few centuries ago. Okay, more like 2 centuries, but you know. That outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Okay. Let's look at this again. Oh, maybe not. The door? All the doors on this vessel have locks, I believe. Except this one? A wise idea. You never know where and when criminals may strike. But of course, to the great detective Herlock Sholmes, lock, bolt, or shirt button, it makes no difference. All are unfastened with equal ease. The way you go on, you sound rather more like a great thief than a great detective. My dear Mikotoba, as long as there is greatness, I am quite satisfied. Of course you are. Alright, elephant in the room. That's a very sizable trunk indeed. Sieshiro is partial to all things large. And a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice that he'd left it behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Huh, pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now, the situation will be quite different, though. Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. Yeah, I think I know exactly what the answer here is. You are still here. Ah, able seaman Stroganov, hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. Eh? You are waiting for me? Of course, I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you played before. Poor innocent chicken. It is all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off, now. Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done. What are you talking about? I just need one more good look at that scribble. Why, naturally. The debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. Kakoi? What is kakoi? I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Ooh. And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganov, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you? How can you? Good gracious, Sholmes. You mean you've worked it out, all of it? It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my super smart logic and reasoning? Nothing would please me more. What is this? We have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganov, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. Ah, that is what I said. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Ah, yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba, then please do take the lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba. It's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that. It's the ice. But I want to read everything. Oh. Ah, no time for games indeed. Keeping it brief. I can't even examine anything. Alright.
Take that!
Yeah! Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. Oh. It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshment, Sholmes. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganov? But why would Sieshiro run from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? Oh, that's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door, and Sieshiro was, yes, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing about this. Ah, this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganov? Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this, Mikotoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikotoba. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. Remnants of a dark deed. A crime that took place here. Something they didn't want noticed. What's rather awkwardly hiding the traces of a crime? I wouldn't call this awkward, but this screams awkward. There's something hidden behind here. This was taken off the wall to hide a blood stain, perhaps.
Take that!
Yeah! It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. No, you are right. But when did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganov? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikotoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Oh, that's even worse. That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see the projectile has been removed. Clearly the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganov. Oh, I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. I don't know who you are talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern Stranger?
Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good.
Oh,
I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by...
I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes.
Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it.
So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides. Well, I can certainly do that. Why is Stroganoff covering for someone? Oh, that would do it. The wad of banknotes. He was bribed.
Take that!
Yeah!
It's almost too obvious for words.
Quite the universal language of the world. Money.
Oh. And I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seishiro Jigoku, yes? Gog! So, I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But...
I believe you know, Mr. Stroganov. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time.
Uh-huh.
As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally.
Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor.
We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible.
You could hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious.
We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow.
So is a tapping toe like a quirk from the books? I mean, I know in the books it's John Wilson who accompanies Sherlock Holmes, but... oh well.
Take that!
Yeah!
You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Oh! The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time. And is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk.
If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air.
Huh?
I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible.
But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know the 7-digit code.
I do. The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure.
Of course.
In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganov.
Go. No, I know nothing about combination code.
Don't move a muscle, my good seaman.
No?
Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk?
Uh-huh. What an absurd coincidence. Oh my god. Of course, he wrote it himself on his arm, so the perspective of those symbols should be flipped upside down. what really were to say Sholmes. Instead, it's numbers. How on earth do you expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time. Alright. Let's see. Wait, no, it would be backward, wouldn't it? Hold on. That'd be 52310. 5231045. It's so nice of them not to include the like a 7, because it only goes up to 5. That's nice.
Take that!
That did it. It's opened. You had to meddle, didn't you? So. Well, Yujin, you found me now. Seishiro. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. Oh wait, no, that would be, no, still Mikotoba. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Oh, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I have read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say, your old friend and traveling companion? Who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me well. What an honor. At least he's a good sport about it. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it. I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. Who? Oh. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket and here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Yujin, I have nothing to say to you. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once.
You have no jurisdiction over my movements.
We have this, Seishiro. Take it.
What is it?
It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. Oh, I'm doing so many gravelly voices, it's actually hurting a bit.
You came prepared then, Yujin.
Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket. Who's a what? Hell's that? A part of the ship? Looks like some knob that attaches to some brass construction.
What is that?
Seishiro?
I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what? I have no idea.
By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France. Small component? The frick?
Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant.
Well, that was a wonderful diversion. Yeah, that was great. One last dance. Kazuma Asogi, I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying.
During these past 30 minutes, whilst this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained.
We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. There can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony.
In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness?
Seishiro Jigoku, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper.
Judge Jigoku, you found him? But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man?
He was located in France during the recess, at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions.
Herlock Sholmes?
Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Asogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness, who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October.
Well, It would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point.
The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered.
In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow.
I guess technically this would be the first 3-day trial in these two games. That's neat.
No objections from either side?
No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day, by the skin of our teeth. To be continued. Hey, right now. No thank you. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Oh, look at that lovely feast! A roast bird, some sort of pie, another thing, some fruit. That's cool. We have returned, my dear fellows. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I, no? You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So this prosecutor, Asogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertained the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. When all this started, almost a year ago now, Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Judge Jigoku?
We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man.
Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes, I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday.
You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well.
Oh, you've had a reply already? What was so urgent, though, Mr. Sholmes? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. Ah, and what a feast it is! If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasant as well. Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there.
Huh? Oh, why ever not? Are we in set places this evening?
Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me?
That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey.
Oh, don't say that. Oh no. And he was on a steamship. Oh, and all the rage in the meme side of the internet is joking about how Steamboat Willie is public domain now. Oh my god, if he's Mickey on a steamship, it's him. He's Steamboat Willie. It's him. Oh no.
I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you.
It's a shame, really.
What do you mean?
Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean.
Oh!
Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday.
Yeah, that's why she was acting so glum at the beginning of the trial. Oh, man.
I secretly listened in on the conversation you had after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
What?
The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotoba are Iris's father. Yes, about that, Iris. You know why.
I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris. The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? So just who is Iris's father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. How old is she again? Hold on. Remind me. She's 10. Either she's Jigoku's or... where would he be? Oh, he's not here. Either Jigoku's or Genshin's. Could she be the half-sister of Kazuma? I mean, her hair is neon pink. She is an anime protagonist. She could be half Japanese. And there were characters lumping her in with Ryunosuke and Susato, like thinking she was Japanese at first glance. It could be either. It's probably Genshin, though. So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About that telegram from Japan, and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. What a weird way to sit on a couch. That somehow looks like one of the least relaxing ways to sit on a couch. It's fascinating.
But, no, we'll just let everyone enjoy the feast. Let's finish out this video by actually looking at the evidence we got. Okay, the Great Sword Karma. Yep, that's a sword. Karma, the Great Blade. It's such a thing of beauty, I want to gaze on it for hours. Anything about the sheath? No. The tip of the great sword. Broken. It's such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Karama's sobs. Kazuma must have really taken a swing for that to happen. Don't think there's anything else to see. Right, so the evacuation drill that happened before arriving in Dover. Departure from Dunkirk, France. All crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. In order to review evacuation procedures, the drill will take 20 minutes. Crew to resume duties as soon as the drill is over. 10 p.m. at night, that's the moment in question. And the small component is a button? You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's the part on the top of a pocket watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it? Oh, that's it, exactly.
It's called the crown, I believe. A watch would be quite useless without one.
The crown? Like what sits on top of a monarch's head. That's a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually...
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo?
If this is a crown, I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here somewhere with a very bare head.
If by monarch you mean a pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have.
Exactly. Doesn't look like it broke off. Someone took pains to remove it, perhaps? Am I blind? I am. Yep. Okay, this part, though. This part looks broken. What do you think, Miss Usato?
I feel sure I know exactly what will fit here.
Oh, really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing.
We're about to see that the little round component is actually part of Inspector Gregson's broken pocket watch.
Really? I was just thinking precisely that too.
A perfect fit.
I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it.
I'll make a note of this new information at once.
Aha! Anything else to say about the little keyhole? So this is where the little policeman figurine's key goes in to wind the watch. Winding it up every single day for 10 years without fail.
Yes, it was obviously a thing of great importance to the inspector.
Or a reminder of the past, lest he forget. Don't forget the 11th of October? You could scratch that in here. Eh? Eh? God, I love Full Metal Alchemist so much. I haven't watched Brotherhood since I reacted to it on Tumblr, like 7 years ago. Oh man, I need to rewatch it. It's such a good show. The glass over the face really is badly cracked, look.
What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully.
I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you?
Yes, I should think so.
He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact.
But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Naruhodo, not an odd job man.
Well, I can't quite think of anything else to look at. Oh, maybe there's new dialogue for the Lucky Charm, now that we know it's a walkie-talkie. Oh, it appears not. So is there, like, anything in this evidence that pertains to 10 p.m. on the grouse? Well, okay, well, 10 years ago, Clint Van Zieks died at 9 p.m., but that's not related. I mean, directly. Well, this is proof that Jigoku was here in London and he attempted to flee the country. Probably spring this on him. You know what? Maybe it's not Stardust Crusaders. Maybe everyone in there will live. Just maybe. Indeterminate time of death for Gregson. Yeah, I don't quite have anything else to work with. Well, alright, so I can quite assume that was the final Great Deduction Spectacular of Herlock Sholmes in this series, and what a great send-off that was. The two old partners reunited, getting back into the swing of things, dancing the dance. It was a good show. Good show, my dear fellows. Yeah, I do really appreciate the game allowing there to be brevity instead of just having dialogue for every single option in the room. It just really invited to go straight for the answers, which helped the feeling of pacing like you were on a time limit. That was a really smart design there. I'm glad they did it that way. So I assume we'll talk with Sholmes after looking around the room maybe one last time. Yeah, this might be farewell to this great room here. I have to savor it next time. So we'll chat with Sholmes and surely return to court for the final time in this game. Oh, the end is approaching. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel and it is shining brilliantly, blinding. And gladly will I go into that light. Oh. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.